Simplicity is the prerequisite for reliability. Edsger Dijkstra. My friends, we keep it simple. You know what we use. We use the Heiken Ashi candlesticks, and we use volume. Does it get any better? Well, Jesse Livermore, the person who I dedicated the new book to, that's what he was all about. That's what all the great traders have been about. You can complicate things with all sorts of complicated indicators. You can have so many on your chart you can't make a decision. Not us. We keep it simple. We follow the weekly chart. And of course, we cut our losses and let our profits run. We have a great method for doing that. We have lots of training on it. If you don't have the book, the new book, become a Patreon member at any of the 3 levels for as little as $30. You can become a Patreon member and you get our $50+ book for free. Thank you again for all who bought the last book. It's been a while, and this one better than ever. Loads of diagrams. We've got daily market worksheets, weekly market worksheets, trade worksheets, how to use them. They're filled out. They show you how to, it's everything you need. So let's jump into these charts. We see stocks and Bitcoin are up. Bonds and gold are down. Let's jump first into the S&P 500. 3 weeks of down movement. As we start this week, it is turning over. In fact, it started when? On Friday, we can see where things started moving up. Now, we're moving up not quite to where we popped up back on this week, the 26th, right after Christmas. You can actually, as we follow on the bottom chart, and how do you like, I went ahead and put these watermarks in of, it shows you what the ETF is, and also it shows you the various time frames. Occasionally I'll screw up, change one of the time frames accidentally and don't know it, and I'm wondering why the charts aren't matching up. And then I was like, hey, I'll put these cool watermarks in that'll always help me see it, plus know that we're on the right charts. Occasionally I'll get those wrong. You all don't see that, but I record the show and I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And then I look over to my right, which you can't see, and I realize I'm on the wrong chart. So that's helping me out a lot. Now we look at what happened on Friday. We saw things turn around and start moving up. But as we look back to the 26th, you can see starting on the 24th, and then markets were closed. Well, let's see here. Starting on the 23rd, 24th, and then markets were closed on Christmas. And then you saw where things most recently peaked out on the day after Christmas, then rocketed down. Well, that could, of course, happen again. We had a spinning top here. This could turn into a spinning top. But of course, it's opened up as a green candle and as green volume, which means it opened higher than the prior close. Red volume means opened lower than the prior close. That's all that means. It doesn't mean negative volume or positive volume. It just means where the candle opened. So always keep that in mind. But we did open higher, and we do have a green candle. We have a green 2-day candle representing the first day, Monday. You can see the decent volume we had. And you can see at the end of the day, volume went up a little bit. And again, tomorrow, maybe we can reach average volume here. We shall see. Hadn't made average volume the last 2 weeks. Those, of course, were short weeks with the Christmas and the New Year's holiday. Told you guys as we got to the end of the year, let's see what the new year has involved. If we track back and look at where things were back in 2023, market started moving up in late October and actually just kept moving up all the way until April the 1st, then pulled back for 3 weeks, then moved up all the way to the 15th of July, pulled back 3 weeks, then up 3 weeks, sideways, and then up pretty much until the week beginning the 9th of December, then down, and now perhaps has started climbing again. We shall track it, and we shall see. We have pushed through the weekly trend line on the half day. We're sitting right there trying to push through on it on the 2-day. We'll see where tomorrow takes us. What about the NASDAQ 100? Well, It pulled back, of course, not as strong as the S&P, just one red down candle, not three. And then the NASDAQ started pushing back up again. Again, we saw where that just before Christmas, just after, then the down move, and then again on Friday starting to move up. And again, it's hard to draw anything here because we didn't really have a downtrend to be able to track. We'd have pretty much just a flat trend line here if we connected the doji, the little green spinning top with the red. So we're not going to do that. We'll just see which way the NASDAQ tries to go. What about 20-year U.S. government bonds? Well, they are down for the day, and again, just sort of proceeding in the down move. We saw where things had an interim high topping out on the 2nd of December, red spinning top, and then pretty much trucking down since then, down again today. Gold, after popping up strong on the day after New Year's, gold has just started lackadaisically sliding sideways and moving it. What is it doing? Okay, after this down move, we still have that downward pressure as it just keeps slipping sideways. Now, as it does that, you know what it can be doing? It can be digesting that down move and getting ready to sort of energize itself. Not that it's going to, but it's going to go somewhere at some point. Either it's going to crank back down or it's going to crank up. If we look at things that are related like GDX, what do we see? This is gold miners. We see that, again, it popped up too on Thursday. It's sort of tracking down too. If we look at another metal, if we look at silver, what's silver doing? Silver, has had a bit of an up time since Thursday. And again, we'll keep our eye on it, not taking off radically, but again, we'll wait, we'll watch, we'll see, we'll keep the powder dry on gold. But we still have, again, a bit of a push keeping gold down after this interim pop-up. The red spinning top, everything classic rollover and all that weight from that big down move. But we've not challenged that down move again. So keep your eye on gold. It may take off at some point up or down. Lastly, we'll look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been rocketing up since Thursday, up Friday. And then, of course, rebounding here. We're getting that weekend surge up 3.88%, or we're getting all the surge. Let's look at what the weekend actually did. We saw where things slid sideways most of the weekend. And then, of course, as things moved into Sunday, starting in the afternoon, in the evening, and then on the 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin really popping up early in the morning on Monday and really hasn't gotten up to where it hit at that 8 a.m. 195-minute chart. But that move started there Sunday afternoon as it just sort of slid sideways from Friday into Saturday. Up 3.53%. Is Bitcoin recovering? Going to go higher? We'll keep our eye on things. Looking pretty good on that 24-hour-a-day chart. Same. And it's important. People will say, well, Tom, we've got Bitcoin on the 24-hour-a-day chart where it's traded round the clock, and you've got it on HODL, which you track every day for us on the ETF, this VanEck Bitcoin Trust ETF. Which should we use? Well, you notice how similar they are, which is really great. And the nice thing about practice trading something like HODL is you can see how liquid it is today, 115.56. Again, I mean, you got to recover some before you're going to be moving up. But what do you get for paying that price? Of course, you get the ability to instantly, not only to have it protected in something like an ETF in a real exchange, as opposed to a potential Bitcoin exchange, aka Sam Bankman-Fried and all the other crazy stuff that went on with him. You don't have that when you have an ETF. So again, practice the way you're going to trade in the future. Feel comfortable about what you're doing. If you're going to use a Bitcoin exchange, then of course you might want to use one of the 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin charts. If not, if you're going to look at potentially in the future trading Bitcoin on an ETF, then of course practice there. The other nice thing you get too is you get this. You get the inverse fund for Bitcoin. Isn't that sweet? BITI. And again, decently liquid. The sell price, $21.85. The buy price, $21.91. That's pretty nice, isn't it? And again, just another thing that gives you options. When Bitcoin's going up, you can trade it up. When Bitcoin's going down, you can trade it down. The trick is to be able to do what? Read the chart. That is where we are, folks. Thank you so much for being with us. You appreciate what we do. Become a supporter. Support us at Patreon. First thing you'll get is a PDF copy of my latest book. You'll get a link to that along with the 3-part video series, Options Made Simple, The Charting Wealth Way. God bless my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth.